Everyone wants to know how good the new Megas from ZA will be in an actual mainline game. And the closest thing we have right now is the Legend ZA format on Pokemon Showdown. The Mega Dimension DLC has just introduced 19 new Megas to the game, and that means 19 new options for this competitive format on Showdown too. But since Legend ZA doesn't have abilities, the fans have had to come up with their own ones for all these new Megas. Let's take a look at all these new abilities for the DLC Megas and how plausible we think they are for a potential future mainline game. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for the greater good of society. Thank you. First up, we have one of the most promising new DLC Megas, Mega Absol Z, who has a really outstanding physical attacking stat spread. And they've gone and given this the ability Technician, which is a really good offensive ability. Do you think this makes thematic sense though, folks? Is Absol Mega Z particularly technical in nature? I guess it does have a protruding fur hand, which might be able to perform some technical operations, much like a human hand can. So there's a logical through line there, maybe. And can we ask ourselves if Scizor is particularly technical either? It's got the claws, but I don't know if I would trust Scizor with open heart surgery or anything. I might actually prefer Absol Mega Z to perform surgery on me with its big fur claw. Neither option is great, I will admit, but regardless, the ability is Technician on this, which does actually make a lot of sense with Absol Mega Z's move pool. Technician is an ability that grants moves with 60 power or less a power boost of 1.5x. And Absol happens to have a bunch of good 60 power or less moves in its moveset. The most notable on Mega Absol Z is Shadow Sneak, of course. A great Ghost-type priority move with 40 power, now boosted by Technician to be even stronger. This is noteworthy because Mega Absol Z is a Dark Ghost type. It has that new type combo. Mega Absol Z also has some good physical coverage options that are boosted by Technician, like Aerial Ace for some flying coverage, Rock Tomb for some rock coverage, plus some speed control a little bit. This is a good option for coverage for sure. And even though Knockoff is probably going to be the Dark Stab of choice, being such a great move, it is awkwardly 65 power, so it's not boosted by Technician. So you might actually prefer to run one of the 60 power Dark type attacks available to Absol Mega Z to benefit from that Technician boost. Feint Attack is one of them, which is perfectly accurate. That might be useful. There's also Bite, which has a 30% flinch chance on it. I think this is probably to be the best option. 30% flinch is really good, especially with the Technician power boost on top. This Pokemon seems to be decent. I think its frailty is a big concern. It's kind of hard to find opportunities to Swords Dance up, but access to the Shadow Snake priority is always nice, allowing revenge KOs and such. And you are just so fast, so this is a great revenge KO fella as well. And close combat is really good physical coverage too, that doesn't have much of a drawback since your frailty is so bad anyway. A promising Pokemon for sure. Might just be a bit frail as the only real drawback, but other than that, Technician does seem to be a good fit gameplay-wise to enhance this Pokemon's moveset. Up next is Mega Crabominable, which I mentioned in my previous video. I thought was kind of a disappointing Mega without much competitive prospects, but they've really salvaged it here in this metagame by giving it an outstanding ability. Ice Scales, which is the ability exclusive to Frostmoth. This ability is insane, and it causes all special damage against this Pokemon to be halved. Incredible amount of defensive potency comes from this ability, and it's a pretty good thematic choice too. I mean, Mega Crabominable notably grows a bunch of icicles on its body upon Mega Evolving, so it would make sense for it to get the ability Ice Scales. It does buff this underwhelming Mega to the point of viability without being too ridiculous either, I think. This guy still suffers from being really slow, and even though Ice Scales is incredible defensively, you're still a ice fighting type Pokemon, which is pretty bad and weak to a lot of things. A lot of special attacks just deal super effective damage anyway, which kind of cancels out Ice Scales. Like you're weak to Fire and Fairy and Psychic. Plenty of physical threats just end this guy's life easily, but I think a bulk up set sounds pretty good on this. I mean, Fighting Ice offensively is a great combo. Drain Punch would help with some longevity, heal you back up. And Mach Punch makes up for your low speed, giving you a prio option. I think Ice Scales is enough to make this a genuine OU Pokemon. I'm not so sure it'll actually get this. It would be a kind of insane buff to give it. It's possible though. It would make some sense on the Pokemon and it would enhance it a lot. And there is an emphasis on it growing ice on its Mega in the Pokedex entry too. So this one's possible. I think it's a good choice that I would actually like to see in the real game. Up next is Mega Staraptor. Mega Staraptor has been a well-received new Mega. Good choice for a Mega. It's a Pokemon people like. The design is nice visually. And fighting flying is an improvement on the typing side. Really great offensive typing. And the ability they've gone with for Mega Staraptor is Tough Claws. And Tough Claws is an amazing ability that causes contact moves to deal 1.3x damage. So it's just a flat damage boost to most physical attacks. This is thematically appropriate too, because I believe in the Pokedex there is a specific mention of how powerful Mega Staraptor's claws are, so this will make a lot of sense and be a great buff to the Pokemon. I already think this Pokemon's promising, even though 140 attack is a bit low for a Mega. I think it's just well-rounded. Mega Staraptor has a great move pool with U-turn and stab close combat and Brave Bird, great coverage, solid speed stat, and really good typing. So I think with Tough Claws, this is a slam dunk, and this will be an excellent Pokemon all around. I actually think this is a pretty likely possible ability for it in the real game too. Seems like a pretty obvious choice for it, especially with the Pokedex mentioning that its claws can lift up a Steelix and to fly around with it. Those are some tough claws, you can't deny that. Mega Golisopod is up next. A Mega that looks insanely good competitively with its Bug Steel typing and amazing stat distribution. And I think they've gone a bit crazy with this one, and they've gone and given this the ability Regenerator. Regenerator is one of the strongest abilities in all of Pokemon that heals you for 1/3 of your max HP every single time you switch out. I don't know if this one makes thematic sense. I suppose I could see Golisopod having regenerative powers, but I don't believe the Pokedex mentioned such a thing or any indication that this would have Regenerator really. Plus, it's insanely broken on this Pokemon to give it Regenerator. I think it's already insanely promising competitively. So giving a Regenerator feels a bit overkill to me. I'm pretty doubtful that they will give this Regenerator. But for the ZAOU metagame for now, of course, this is going to be amazing. It already would have been otherwise. Not so sure about this ability choice. I'm doubtful that this will be its real ability, and I don't really see the logic behind it. Up next is Mega Meowstic. And I mentioned in my previous video that I'm worried Mega Meowstic might be competing with Mega Alakazam and probably won't win that battle. Mega Alakazam is the seemingly superior fast special attacking Mega Psychic type. But I think that they've done something really cool here, and they've given this an ability that would actually give Mega Meowstic a real reason to be chosen over Alakazam, and that is the ability Psychic Surge, which sets Psychic Terrain on the field. Obviously an amazing ability. Psychic Terrain enhances the damage of Psychic type attacks for all grounded Pokemon, and it also makes all grounded Pokemon immune to priority. Generally a good option on Psychic type since they are under fire from Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch much of the time. Psychic Terrain also has various synergistic capabilities, not only enhancing Psychic type damage on your allies, but shielding them from priority and activating the Psychic Seed as well, plus allowing use of the move Expanding Force, which has increased power in Psychic Terrain. Psychic Terrain is a really good hyper offense archetype, and even the underwhelming Pokemon in DD has a viable niche as a result of its access to Psychic Surge. This would be an awesome choice on Mega Meowstic that I hope they actually go with. This would give it a real distinct reason to be used. It probably actually would be one of the more popular Megas, and I think it would feel balanced because, as I said in my other video, these stats are not that insane for a Mega. They're actually pretty low. 143 special attack and 124 speed. Mega Alakazam is superior. Other special attacking Megas are superior. With Psychic Surge, this would feel significantly better. I think it's a really awesome choice. Up next is Mega Golurk. And I thought that this Pokemon seemed like it would suffer from similar problems to base Golurk. It does have a really good 159 attack and okay bulk, but just being so slow is such a death sentence in competitive. But they've given this a really good ability, which is adaptability. And this enhances the stab damage of your attacks from 1.5x to 2x. So it's a significant damage increase to your ground and ghost type attacks, and these are really amazing stab types offensively. And even though Mega Golurk is slow, I think that this ability would make it really scary as a breaker. With such a high attack stat and with the high power move of Poltergeist, which is an incredible ghost type attack. Perhaps with the help of pivots to find entry points or sticky web or even trick room, Mega Golurk could be a genuine Pokemon. It also has a really nice defensive typing profile. It can block rapid spin and such. I would be happy with this in actual game. I think it's just a straightforwardly good offensive ability. Mega Golurk looks like it could adapt to different environments. Isn't it in the Tutankhamun's tomb for 500 years or something? You would have to adapt to different situations to handle that insane job, wouldn't you? That would require a bit of adaptability, and I think that's why this ability choice makes perfect thematic sense as well. And there's no argument against it either. Up next is Mega Glimmora. I believe this Pokemon is one that is probably going to be worse than its base form, because even though the special attack increase is nice, it's not that much of an increase. Base form Glimmora still has base 130, and Glimmora, without hogging the Mega slot, is a perfectly functional, singles-oriented, hazard-setting offensive Pokemon. I think the Mega would be a waste on it, and you'd rather a different Mega in your team, probably. This guy's not that fast or great as a special attacking Mega. And they've gone and they've given this the ability Rocky Payload, which is Bombardier's ability. And this one increases the damage of rock-type attacks. What it technically does is enhance your offensive stat by 1.5x when using a rock-type attack. I don't know how much thematic sense this really makes other than Glimmora being a rock type, and that association I think is a bit of a stretch thematically. And in game, I don't know how much this would even really help you. I guess your Power Gem would hit really hard. Meteor Beam you're probably thinking of, but remember Meteor Beam pretty much needs Power Herb to be any good, and you have to equip the Mega Stone. So I actually literally think Power Herb base form Glimmora would be a scarier Pokemon that already gets the special attack boost from the Power Herb Meteor Beam thing, and gets access to a stronger attack as a result too. I think it's a weird choice for an ability that also doesn't improve the Pokemon enough to make it worth using in my eyes. Up next is Mega Scovillain, the most disappointing new Mega in the eyes of many, rather underwhelming in its stats and visual design. But they've given this an ability that, if it really got this, it might save its life. This ability might bring Mega Scovillain back from the brink of defeat. They've given it the ability Contrary, which is a great ability you probably are familiar with on Superior, that inverts stat stage changes. So if you were going to lose stats, you gain them instead, and vice versa. And this has broken application with moves that have an inbuilt drawback to lower your stats, because now instead of lowering them, they will raise them, so it's all upside. Mega Scovillain happens to have access to Overheat, which would be an insanely high power fire move that then gives it a free nasty plot after being used, and Leaf Storm, which you know from Superior is good enough to push that Pokemon to the OU forefront in many generations. And obviously is an amazing option here. Grass Fire is an insanely good stab combo. The offensive stats are good considering the Contrary synergy. Remember how bad Superior special attack is, and Contrary makes that Pokemon worthwhile. So this, even though they're not great for a Mega, for a Contrary Pokemon, these stats are insane. So this ability would do it. This would save Mega Scovillain, I think, and this seems really strong. It would need some sticky web support. It's frail. It's not that fast. But also, I think it's fast enough to operate as a breaker and outrun most defensive Pokemon at least. And with enough support, I think this could work. Now, I don't actually think it's going to get Contrary in the game, because that would be insane. Thematically, I don't even know why you give something Contrary. Is Superior particularly contrarian in its beliefs? Maybe it's because Superior is a serpentine creature, which represents the serpent that tempted the first humans to eat of the apple. So it's sort of got an inverted moral alignment and is therefore contrary to the rest of the creatures in the game. Could Scovillain fit that description as well, being an evil chili pepper? Perhaps the experience of eating a chili pepper is contrary to a normal flavor because it inflicts pain upon you rather than nourishing you and filling your taste buds with a satisfying sensory swirl of salt or sugar or something. Chili is a bit more confronting to some people, therefore it's contrary to the usual. They're telling me that this makes perfect sense, and I've figured it out. And we're going to definitely see contrary Mega Scovillain in the next game, 100%. Up next is Mega Tatsugiri, who they've gone and given the ability Drizzle, which is obviously amazing. Drizzle sets rain on the field. Great on a Dragon Water type Pokemon. I really doubt this will actually get Drizzle. In this format, they also gave Mega Dramper Drizzle. I think that makes more sense. This dragon looks like it can summon rain from the heavens. I don't know if Tatsugiri has the same ability. It is sushi. Can sushi create rain? Is sushi associated with rain? Maybe. I wouldn't know. I guess they're from the ocean. The ocean has water in it, but then any damn water type could therefore have a drizzle. I guess they do give drizzle to random people like Pelipper. I don't know though, I don't buy it. I don't think Tatsugiri is going to get drizzle. It'll probably get something else in the actual game. Mega Chimecho is maybe my favorite of the new Megas in terms of visual design. I hope it's competitively viable because I'd like to see more of it. And they have gone with the obvious choice here, and they've just given Mega Chimecho the ability Levitate, which is what it already has in its base form, and what would be a really good ability on it. Levitate cancels out the Steel type's weakness to ground, and is generally just really fantastic. This is probably what I imagine it would get in the main game too, because Mega Chimecho does appear to be flying. It has not gone down to the ground in its new form. It is still flying. Perhaps a Calm Mind Stored Power set could be good in singles. You have Draining Kiss, which is nice coverage to hit dark types as well as a form of healing. And Encore is always nice on a boost sweeper like this. I'm not so sure if it'll be worth the Mega slot in singles, but in doubles this will probably be a solid Pokemon with its access to Trick Room. Mega Raichu X exists, and it has the ability Levitate, which is what I think it will get in the main game too, because it is flying, and there's emphasis on the fact that it's flying in the Pokedex. Plus it would be really strong. Electric type with Levitate removes the only weakness Electric type has, which is ground. And this is often smart and often good. Mega Raichu X is kind of underwhelming stat-wise for a Mega. And in my previous video I did say that I think Levitate might make up for that, but looking at the move pool, I'm not so sure actually. I don't think Mega Raichu X has the best move pool ever in terms of physical options. Volt Tackle is the standout option, but the recoil is kind of terrible, almost invalidating the nice defensive trait of Levitate because you just recoil yourself to death. The other option for a physical electric stab move is Thunder Punch, which is just a bad move, frankly. It's only 75 power. Really not great. You have Knockoff, which is always good, but beyond that, not much in the physical move pool for Mega Raichu X. Encore is good, utility Volt Switch, but I can't see this being worth the Mega slot, quite honestly, and I think that Mega Raichu X is a failure, and a blight on the series, and a disaster, and I hate him. Mega Raichu Y I think is more promising though. Mega Raichu Y has very good offensive stats, 160 base special attack and 130 base speed, so it's fast and very threatening. And the ability that they've given this is Transistor, which is the ability of Regieleki, and it increases your offensive stat by 1.3x if you're using an electric type attack, so basically bonus damage on electric moves. Really nice ability. That would be insanely good if it actually got it. I'm not so sure it will, it's an exclusive ability for Regieleki. And Regieleki is designed around this since Regieleki has almost no coverage and it relies mostly on electric moves, which is its downfall, since ground types are immune and it's very easy to block Regieleki. Raichu, however, actually has coverage options and would be really fast and threatening with Transistor. It has Surf, which hits ground types of course, and then Alluring Voice for fairy coverage to hit Garchomp, who would be neutral to Surf. And everything else probably gets kind of destroyed by the sheer brute force of the electric damage of this massive special attack and the Transistor boost. I already think Mega Raichu Y is a promising Pokemon, especially in doubles, where it would have access to Fake Out, which is really good. It also benefits in this special attacking form from Lightning Rod, since Lightning Rod can give you a special attack boost. Then you can Mega Evolve and have your special attack boost still while sweeping. So that's insanely good. Mega Raichu Y is certainly the superior of the two Raichus. Whether or not it will get this ability, I'm unsure. It could. It's electric themed. It does mention that it generates 1 million volts of electricity or something like that, but I also sort of doubt it because it's a Regieleki exclusive that is designed around that Pokemon, and it might be a little bit OP. We'll see. Up next is Mega Heatran, and they have given this a really outstanding ability. Earth Eater. Earth Eater is an ability that grants a complete immunity to ground type attacks and actually heals you if you are struck by a ground type attack. Similar to Water Absorb, but for ground moves. This would obviously be insanely good on Heatran, who is ×4 weak to ground and often equips an air balloon to avoid ground moves, or a Shuka Berry. This would also be really interesting because in its base state it is immune to fire, so it would be able to switch between two different immunities, fire or ground. Do we think this makes thematic sense? Currently Earth Eater is only available on Earthworm, who's based on an earthworm of course, who eats dirt. Eating dirt means you're immune to the ground, I guess. Some creatures consider dirt to be very yummy. I wouldn't eat any dirt, but some would eat some dirt. I guess Mega Heatran could eat dirt. You'd think this guy's a dirt eater, looking at him. He's got a big mouth and a big stomach, so he looks like he's eating something. He could eat something. It could be Earth Eater. I wouldn't think it's too out of place if they really gave this Earth Eater. I would not be shocked by that. It would make sense gameplay-wise. He looks like he's an eater of some description. Don't know if he eats dirt or something else, but obviously for very clear reasons, this is an amazing choice on Heatran. It patches up its biggest weakness. If it really gets this, it's going to be an insane Pokemon. 100%. And it's sort of thematically appropriate. Up next is Mega Darkrai, who I love. I think is an awesome visual. And they've gone with a simple ability choice here. They've given it Dark Aura, which is the ability of Yveltal. Dark Aura just increases the damage of dark type attacks by 1.33x. Repeating, of course. This would probably be pretty good. Darkrai Mega is an interesting one because when it Mega evolves, it loses speed but gains bulk. And also gains a lot of special attack. So by enhancing that dark type breaking power further, and also making the Sucker Punch and Knockoff physical mixed options more powerful, Dark Aura might be a solid choice. It's a simple one, just increasing dark damage, but this might make it a viable Mega among the Ubers, and also, it sort of makes sense. I wouldn't be too surprised to see it. Mega Darkrai could emit a Dark Aura, and it is sort of a Legendario, it's a mythical at least. It's a fine choice, I think, albeit a bit simple, but sometimes simple is okay. Up next is Mega Baxcalibur, who they haven't changed. They've just kept the same ability on this, so not much to talk about. Thermal Exchange is a really good ability. It's likely they'll do this because it's already an exclusive ability for Baxcalibur that is really strong. So it makes sense that it would keep this. That's what they often do with Megas if they have a distinct ability, like Tyranitar's Sandstream, which is pretty important to the identity of that Pokemon, so they didn't really give it a new ability in its Mega. I think it's actually pretty likely and logical to assume that this will have the same ability as its base form. Up next is Mega Lucario Z, and they've gone insane with this one because they've given it the ability Mind's Eye, which is presently only available on Blood Moon Ursaluna. This ability has the same effect as Scrappy, allowing normal and fighting type attacks to hit ghosts when they otherwise wouldn't be able to. It also has the added benefit of ignoring enemy evasiveness and preventing accuracy lowering on your person as well. That part isn't as relevant. The important part is the Scrappy effect, being able to hit ghosts. This would be an incredible ability on an already insanely overpowered seeming Pokemon. I mean, this guy has a ridiculously high 151 base speed, an absurd 164 base special attack, and we have a nice frame of reference here. We can look at Mega Lopunny, who is good because it is fast and has Scrappy, and therefore can spam fighting type attacks without much risk. And Mega Lopunny, comparatively, is weak. It's slower and weaker on the offensive side too, with a lower attack of 136. Mega Lucario is like Mega Lopunny on steroids, which is a frightening idea indeed. It is a special attacker, which is different, but this would be absolutely insane. Something tells me they wouldn't give Mega Lucario Z this ability. Maybe they'd cook up a unique one for it, or give it something else. They might just give it adaptability, the same as the physical version. Because Mind's Eye is the exclusive ability of Blood Moon Ursaluna. You could sort of see it working thematically though, and making some sense on the Pokemon, being that it's a fighting type. Up next is Mega Zeraora, one of the most promising of the new Megas in the DLC, with its insanely high offensive stats and speed. Even faster than the Mega Z Pokemon with 153 base speed, beating them out by 2 points, which I'm sure will be significant. They haven't done anything too flashy with this though. They've just kept it as the same ability as base Zeraora, which is Volt Absorb, which is a fine choice. Volt Absorb is an ability you can't go too wrong with, electric immunity, and healing when struck. Definitely possible that they'll just keep Volt Absorb, but I feel like with how flashy the appearance is on Mega Zeraora and how overpowered it is on the stat side too, I have a feeling they'll give it a different ability, and that would also enhance the value of staying base form to keep Volt Absorb for some situations, which would add a bit of gameplay depth. I feel like in the actual game they will give Mega Zeraora a new ability. Volt Absorb somehow seems a bit plain for something as powerful seeming as Mega Zeraora, in my opinion. Up next is Mega Magearna, who is actually already banned from Legend ZAOU, which I don't think they've banned that many of the new Megas except like Zygarde, so that's kind of crazy. It makes a lot of sense because Mega Magearna is insane. I mean, base form Magearna is already insane, but now you have 170 base special attack and a usable speed stat of 95 too, and even a pretty good attack stat. This is like Zacian Crowned level of broken, so definitely understandable that they've gone and banned this one. And they just kept the ability as Soul Heart, which is very likely to be what actually happens in the game, because that's the exclusive ability of Magearna, and it's a really, really good one that increases your special attack by 1 stage when the enemy faints. Just such a good ability, kind of iconic for the Pokemon, so pretty damn sure it'll just keep that ability and benefit from the stat increases, which are very generous on Mega Magearna. And finally we have Mega Garchomp Z, and I gotta be honest, I missed something about this. I didn't realize that it lost its ground typing and became a mono dragon. Has this ever happened before in a Mega? They lose one of their dual types and become a mono type? I think this is a first. Forgive me for missing that. That's a significant little detail that actually might make Mega Garchomp a bit worse than I thought here, because the ground typing is pretty important, giving stab to Earthquake and having so many great defensive traits. Goodness me, I did not realize that. Regardless though, Mega Garchomp Z does still have a lot to be thankful for, with an incredible series of stat increases, most notably the 151 base speed, which is ludicrously high. And a very enhanced special attack stat, which is a pretty good fit on Garchomp, who has a great special move pool. I still think that this Pokemon seems quite good, but wow, I didn't realize that it lost its ground typing. Forgive me for missing that. In ZAOU here, they've just kept its ability Roughed Skin, and honestly, I hope they don't do this. I hope that they actually give it a different offensively oriented ability to match its new offensive stats, because keeping Rough Skin is a bit of a boring one. It does look like if you touch those spikes, you will damage yourself, so that could be some logic there, but I still would prefer to see a different ability for this, if it was up to me. Mega Garchomp, the old one, got Sand Force, which wasn't very good, but it was at least distinct. And since Garchomp is such an iconic pseudo-legendary, a fan favorite, I could see them making a custom ability for it in the next game, whatever that may be. Of all Pokemon to get one, Garchomp seems likely for that, and I think it might need something more if it's a mono dragon. Being a mono dragon is actually kind of terrible compared to Dragon Ground, which is a really good typing. But anyway, folks, that does it for the new DLC Megas now added to ZAOU, which you can play on Pokemon Showdown if you want to try it out. Nice little potential showcase of what a metagame with these new Megas might look like, even though it's not perfect and I don't like all the ability choices. At least it's something, it's better than nothing, and it's fun to play for what it is. A nice trial of the new Megas in a competitive context. Give it a go. Let me know what you thought of these ability choices for the Pokemon, and what your ability choices for them might be. And thank you for watching.